go into a
Mm.
totally different environment, nobody has any preconceived notions of you. So you can be who you are. But I think the other thing is that when you're talking about checking in on yourself, and there's sometimes words that are bandied about, and breaking it down a little bit more. So what does it involve? Checking in on yourself, and know thyself is the other one that's been around for
Mhm.
thousands of for millennia. Um, is it really about paying attention to what's actually going on in your head? Is it about paying attention to what drives you, paying attention to what makes you upset? And that it's not that you're over analyzing yourself, but you get an idea of what makes you tick. And you also get an idea of how much wasted energy that you might spend on worrying and thinking about things that are never going to happen. Being here and wanting to be over there. Um, that kind of that check in, because I always wondered about the word awareness. Again, we hear
Mhm.
awareness all the time. What does
Yeah,
it really mean to be aware?
right. It's an interesting question because it is thrown around so much, this idea, and we talk about it a lot here on Hanu. It's like the idea of self-awareness and self-regulation. But when we conceptualize the idea of self-awareness, what are we really talking about? And I like to use, whenever I can, even more simplified language, like you mentioned just a second ago. Like, what is it that makes you tick? I love the old adage of like, whatever we don't measure, we are not likely to change. And that doesn't mean, the quantification or biometric things that we do, because yes, that can be helpful and can be important. But measurement also comes back to this idea of checking in and being aware of what are those things that affect us. And then not what is it, but why? Like, why does it affect us? So this kind of gets at the core, the root cause, right? Somebody cuts me off in traffic and they flip the bird at me and I become really emotionally volatile. So, like, we have kind of the what. So, the what was they cut me off. But what's the why? What's at the core of it? And that's really kind of asking the question of, what makes me tick? Like, for me, it could be, oh, they think that, they have the right to get somewhere faster than me because they think that they're more privileged individual, like they have kind of the higher pedestal here. Or maybe it's they're trying to, and this is just kind of me random like hot take here, is maybe they're like, oh, I've got the fast car, so I want to show off my fast car. Probably nobody's thinking that, but maybe it could be that somebody's like, oh well, I want my car to be faster, I'm going to cut them off now. Like, there's all these potential reasons, but we have to dig at kind of the root cause at the core of it. In psychology, we refer to this as schemas or core beliefs, or kind of what's at the root of things. And it's a good tenet for us to remind people of, is that awareness doesn't just mean kind of like what is causing the stress, but what is causing, how is that connected to why it's causing stress? What is at the absolute core of it? And so when I think about awareness, that's what I think about, is like the what and then the why. And the why is a little bit more difficult sometimes to find, but I think it is worth a high level of self exploration in order to unpack the why of stress, or the why of frustration, the why of anger, the why of, you fill in the blank.
Mm. It's kind of provided that you come to a truthful conclusion on it. So you could
Yeah,
come to a conclusion that this guy is flipping the bird because he's a total outright bully, and this is what he does in his
right.
everyday life. And you're getting peeved with
Absolutely.
him because here's an asshole, and I just want to give him something back. But
Right.
that mightn't necessarily be the truth of it, though. And it's so complex. And I often wondered, why many of us have developed an interest, and you very much formally into psychology,
Mhm.
and I developed an interest very much in bringing a stillness to the mind in terms of breath work, was because
Mm.
we had those issues ourselves. And I
Mhm.
often feel that
Mhm.
many people who go into that field, that there's almost a self exploration first to find out really how the mind is working. But
Mm.
is it really about how the mind is working, or is it about bringing that quietness to the mind, that practical experience? Yeah, just it's one of those things. You can we really come to a conclusion on the mind by using the mind to come to the conclusion? I don't
Right.
know.
It's a
Sometimes I
tough
give
one.
up. I just follow my breathing and I forget about it.
Thanks for listening to the Hanu Health Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. This podcast would not happen without listeners and supporters like you. And the best way to support us and the show is to head on over to iTunes and provide us with a 5-star review. This helps us reach others and spread the good word of breathing and stress resiliency. If we read your 5-star review on air, please reach out to podcast@hanuhealth.com with your name and mailing address, and we will send you some sweet Hanu gear. Until next time, breathe better and stress less.